in the restaurant. La victime, Monsieur Elg. He came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. That's not an excuse, no. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. Can't find any contradictions in what he's saying, though. But now we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. In the restaurant. I'm feeling like this is a press him for more information kind of deal. Because nothing here is wrong. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. Fine. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. That would still be fine. There were no other customers. Still be fine. It's like, it's that sort of thing like, can I prove there were others? It's like, no. When he got word he won the lottery, Mon Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to do the acting. So basically what we're trying to prove here, that there was time? Based on what he says here. But how? I'm feeling very much we have to press him to try and get the details of like times and stuff like that. Guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elg and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time, after all. If you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She fell unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? Ah, you mean that's when the phony staged his act? I'll know for sure once I find a hole in his testimony. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. Was he alone at his table as well? Mais oui, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembered it different. She swears that there was another man at the victim's table.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Trice. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. Yeah, his time. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain bittersweet boy. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? Hey, it's all terrible. It's not coffee. It's love. Love this bittersweet. It's madness, Maya. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. Nah, she's gone crazy. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. What time? By old man you mean Victor Cuda, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. Drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're almost welcome any time. I said it was worth one sip and nothing more. So old Mr. Cuda arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. How many minutes after? So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Cuda arrived? Oh oui, that is correct. But that still leaves the possibility that something happened in the gap of time. Yes. And by your recollection, how much time would you say elapsed? Let me see, approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes, that's all. Seems unlikely that anything untoward could have happened in such a short time. Rats. Oops, I knew I shouldn't have pursued this line of questioning. No, you're on the money here. Well, I assume you're on the money, because if you're not, I'm not. There were no other customers. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim. How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Tried? 3 or 4. You would never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Huh? You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant. Yeah. But you're wasting your time. Can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift. I mean, it probably tastes better. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere, I'm sure of it. When he got word he won the lottery, Elle became very excited. Did you see him? None, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember I'm shouting, yes, $500,000! Presumably the defendant heard that too, then, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseed, so it got stuck in his throat. Seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. Yes, that's what I've been saying. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. At what point were you... What were you doing? What were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I am a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry? What do you mean? There is the renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, and the tragic poet Clarice Armstrong. Clarice? Oui, I was writing a poem, angry tale of a chef in $500,000 of debt, cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Okwi. It means I. Perhaps I could recite it for the court. Please don't. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the old man to call from the payphone. At what time? Well, you're an argument, trite. The purpose of this phony victim's performance was so the old man would see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Indeed. Again, it seems the showdown... It seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted, n'est-ce pas? I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? The victim, Monsieur L, he came to my restaurant alone. Try throwing him up. Your Honor, that statement contradicts his evidence. It doesn't. It doesn't. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Huh? Really? Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Oops, that didn't go down so well. The victim, Monsieur L, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. Like, what time, though? What time? Like, is there anything I could present partway through and try and figure out more time? Like, by old man you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome any time. Said it was worth one sip and nothing more. And Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. I could just ask what time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? I didn't even see that option when I went through the last time. Because I was so focused on the, how many minutes, it's like, I didn't even see that that option was there. It's so weird. It's like, that's the question I want to ask. Oh, no. I cannot remember, monsieur. Oh, for God's sake. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Oh, hello. Crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man, sir. Thank you, Commissioner! Yes, this is what I needed! This was the thing I was after. If it was taking him, like, say, like 5 minutes to find a payphone, it was 2:20. That's way after the lottery. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. Okay. So, right. That would put it at 2 then. They arrived at 2 p.m. Because if it's 2:25, it took him 5 minutes to find a payphone. That means at 2:20, he was sent out to go call. 20 minutes before the incident happened, that's 2 p.m. That's half an hour after the lottery. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10 p.m., no? Just after 2, huh? Yes. Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing, now can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Good. Oh, oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. What, Frere Jacques? I remember the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 p.m. Right, where's the 1:30 thing? 1:30. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be the show Mom Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving la lunch menu. Get to the point, Trite. If you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30? Now supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum. Catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Oh, it's a bit basically completely, yes. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tresbian that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, had been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, that wasn't the case. How could you explain the time discrepancy? Objection! Quite a performance, Trite. You're almost on a roll. Wait, what? That works. What? But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however. At the time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection!
Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. That customer was the phony Glen Elg. And where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Yeah. I'm thinking the kitchen because of the bottle. The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? Thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed? Inside Tresbien. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tresbien. Interesting. Where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Tresbien is the kitchen. I mean, I'd say under a table, but I need proof of where it could be, and I'm thinking the ear medication bottle.
Take that!
The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Yes. Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
Take that!
Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tresbien. Eh? Where? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. Kind of medication. I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. L visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glen Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu. Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. No, it's disgraceful. Order. This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glen L? Never. I can not do such an horrible thing. No. He's gonna pop a gasket. Mr. Gadot. The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. Ugh. It's one of my rules. You have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No. Oh, had you said yes, we would have had you. Absolutely no. Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Gadot's coffee mug awaits you. Oh my. As does my gavel. Oui, it is clear. What do they always say in the movies? Got a bad feeling about this. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession. It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it, I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. Yeah, you're dead. But I did not kill him. I swear it, you must believe me. See, I believe him on the not killing, but... Co-conspirator? Yep. You were forced by who? I cannot say, or I will be... erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Glenn Elg died, he was really the only person at his table. There was... another. There was another man. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. Gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. The confession. Let's press on this, because I want to try and get over to Tigre. It's true, I hid the body in la kitchen. Did you carry the body by yourself? Oui, I carried him. And I carried Maggie too. Well, we know you're strong. Maggie too. When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Alright, that means present whoever it was then. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. Why would you go along with this man? Because he owed him a lot of money. Alright, there you are. Let's end this dance of ring around the rosy, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Who is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, I don't know, maybe a month ago in this very courtroom? This man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan office called Tender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Mr. Tigre, at least not while he had this on you. Alright, so... Yep, there we go. Right?
Take that!
A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything. This man told you. It is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. The tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his lost loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I'd seen. I think we can now safely say the man who was forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison in the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Gadot. You will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. "30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I will see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well, your request is granted, Mr. Gadot. We'll resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. To be continued. January 8th, 1:21 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, Number 1. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Gadot picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but that's the line the prosecution takes. We could be in trouble. Get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still. When I don't have a job to do, I kinda get wound up. No kidding. You could have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. Could get some prints analyzed for you, if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have already reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a real decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Had some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag. We're really stuck. Said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour. You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? I'm going back to the station anyway. Could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey. That's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solved the last mystery of who these prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, That's been gnawing at me too. Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. I'll try. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys.